I served in one area. It's called San Miguel del Monte, and it was a tiny little town out away from everything in the whole world. Like we were about like 50 minutes away from the nearest missionaries. But it was a super pretty town, and there was this like big lake in the town, and so it was very pretty to run around the lake in the morning or just pass by all the time on our bikes. But so it was a really small town, and so it was just a really small branch. And there were about like 10 active members in the branch. But I think that this branch was one of my favorite areas because it was so amazing to see the members of the branch, even though they were like far away, like this, the stake offices and the stake presidency was like an hour and a half or two away, and it's so hard for them to get transport there. Like I think 2 members owned cars in that whole branch. 1 member owned a motorcycle. And so like to travel to, get a temple recommend interview or something, it was a big deal because didn't have the car, they would have to take a bus or something. And the bus only passed through the town like every 2 hours. It was a ridiculous travel. And so you'd have to get on that bus, take that bus to a train station, and then take the train up to like the stake center. And so really like people didn't leave a lot. It was hard. It was even hard for us as missionaries to travel. Like I remember one time we were coming home from something at night. I think it was a zone conference, so we were traveling at night, and we were traveling on the bus, the only bus that ever goes in the city, and it broke down on the side of the road. And we were like kind of freaking out because we needed to be home by like 9 o'clock, and it was like already 8:30, and we were like, oh no, what do we do? And we were thinking about like calling a taxi or something, but they're just really expensive. But it was really cool because we were on the side of the road with all these people that were stranded on the bus. And it was funny because we had come from zone conference, and so we'd gotten some more like supplies for we had like a bunch of Book of Mormons with us and like packets of pass along cards, just holding it all in our hands or in our backpacks because we just needed more supplies in our apartment to give out to people. And so some people were kind of looking at us like, what are those people doing? Why do they have so many books in their hands and their backpacks are full? But we ended up talking to a couple people, which was just a really cool opportunity to have, on the side of the road, even though it was like dark and kind of cold outside. We just ended up talking to this like group of people that were actually just kind of traveling through and visiting this area because it was a really good vacation spot. And so we talked about, the gospel to them, gave them a card, and we actually found out that one of their moms lives in this town, and so he gave us the address of the mom. So it was like a really good talk with them all night long, and then, well, not all night long, for like 20 minutes for the bus to get fixed. And then the next day or two, I don't remember when, we were actually able to go visit the mom, and she was like such a sweet person, and we had like a wonderful lesson with her. And we kind of taught her a lot. I actually got transferred before I ever knew what happened with her, but it was just really cool to see how we could, meet random people on the side of the street during a broken down bus, and then from one of those people meet his mom, and just to see how it all affects like that. And it was just a really awesome, and his mom was a really great person, and we'd even like pass her in the city, and she'd always like wave to us like, oh, how are you, when are you gonna come see me again? So it was awesome. And then just other stories with this branch. I guess I was in this area for 4 transfers, so it was just like it kind of feels like my home sometimes. I loved it so much. I think I cried a lot. I told the president I never wanted to leave that area, but he said I had to. And it was kind of like a joke. Like the branch president always said that I was basically a member of the branch because I'd been there for so long, and I played the piano for the branch like on a little keyboard, and it was like halfway through my time there, and the branch president's like, you can just start choosing the songs. Like, I don't even know why I choose them anymore. So I felt pretty official, like I was the official music person for the branch. But I just love to see how the branch, they had like a Young Women's president, a Relief Society president, counselor, an Elders Quorum president, the branch president, and his counselor. And like that was basically all the callings because that was like everyone who had been there. And a ward mission leader, or the branch mission leader. And so everyone was basically in charge of something. And even though there was like 1 young woman, 3 primary children, and then like 3 other people in the Relief Society besides the presidency. And I just loved, I just admired them so much to see their faithfulness. And even though it was like super frustrating, like, okay, I'm gonna go prepare a lesson for 3 people, then it's like the same all the time and everything. But it was so much fun to see them. I think I learned the most from that branch and from the members. And as we started reactivating members in that branch, to see how the ward would react to that. I remember there's this one lady, one sister who, like, we just kind of randomly knocked on the door. We just found her name on a list, and we're like, "Hi, we're the missionaries. Do you remember? Do you know who we are?" And she's like, "Yeah, I know who you are." And she's like, "But I'm inactive right now." And we're like, "Well, that's why we're here. We're gonna talk to you." So we just talked to her for a while, and we found out that she smoked, and so that was kind of like her problem. Like, she stopped to get baptized, but then throughout her life she started again. And so we just started visiting her every week to try to help her. And at first, like, she didn't really want to see us that much, but then as time grew on, she really started looking forward to our visits. And it was really hard for her to stop smoking, and so it was something that we were working on. But just to see her growth in the gospel is so amazing. It was like baptizing someone again, for me, and I was so happy. She started reading her scriptures more, and she loved reading the gospel because it took her mind off of not smoking. And so she said that she would read Daughters of My Kingdom, or she'd read the Leohonas, or the Ensigns, and she loved watching the church movies. Like, one time we borrowed a bunch of church movies from a member and gave them to her, and she watched them all in 2 days. It was so amazing. And I remember almost towards the end of my last transfer, I think, she'd asked us, I'm still not obeying the word of wisdom, and this is still hard for me. I'm working on it. I'm getting down to less and less cigarettes every day. But she's like, "Can I bear my testimony in church?" And we're like, "Yeah, well, let us just check with the branch president to make sure it's okay." But because there was only 10 members in the ward, it's every member has to bear their testimony anyways on Fast Sunday, or else there's nothing happening. So he's like, "Yeah, that's fine." But I remember that Fast Sunday she didn't. But then the next Fast Sunday, it was such a miracle, because she went up there and bore her testimony. And I just remember I'm feeling like a proud mom or something. I'm like, "Oh, there she goes." And I remember her saying to the members, she was saying I know I'm not as strong as some of you in the gospel. I know I don't have as much as knowledge as some of you in the gospel, but I do know that I am trying, and I know that this is true, and I know that through Heavenly Father's love, I can be here. I can be clean all the way. And I just remember crying and just feeling so happy for her, knowing that she has found that testimony again. And though she was dealing with the trials of stopping to smoke, it was she was almost there, and I was so happy. And then I remember right after that, there was another boy that he hardly ever bore his testimony. He went up there. He was about 20 years old, I think, and he had recently been inactive, but he was reactivating. And he went up there and was talking about his family, and 3 of his siblings they're inactive right now, or 4, and his mom and dad are active. And so he was up there and he was saying how important it was to be an example to his family. And then he was saying that he knew if he went on a mission, it would bless his siblings so much. And so it was such a miracle to see that too, because he'd been struggling if he wanted to go on a mission or not, and all that kind of things. And so to see him say that he knew that his siblings would rejoin the church one day through his testimony and through the example of his parents was so amazing too. So it was a really good, I think that Fast Sunday stood out to me the most in the whole my mission. I always remember their testimonies and just how strong the gospel can be for this little branch out in the middle of nowhere.